left, right, out. I've been battling the flu. It's been horrific. I got the flu jab and it didn't do any. Still got the flu. All right, let's get into it. The markets. The markets have been just in a rip roar. They've been tearing up. I don't know exactly what it is. I gave some theories about why they are going up. You have a 10-year that's at 4%. You have, a yielding curve inversion across a number of dated notes, bills, your treasuries. It's absolute insanity, to be totally honest, what is going on in the market. The market keeps anticipating this Fed pivot, and rightfully so. It's going to happen, and I guess you call it a minor pivot when they come out and they say that they might reduce the amount of rate hikes, but that's not a pivot. Let's say in the best case scenario, they do decrease. They're still going up, and those marginal increases will have an effect, especially on business. They already are. I mean, I'm looking at, anecdotally, just looking at certain businesses that I deal with on a daily basis where I'm at. And one of their things is their issues is cost. One, it's costing more for employees. It's costing more for the taxes, because every time you increase the cost on that, that you pay tax on, since it's a percentage basis, the tax liabilities go up. Thirdly, I mean, not only that, just dealing with government in general. I just literally getting ready to record this, I get a call from one of the people that I help out, and some government inspector just shows up at their place, and even though they didn't need a permit, then says they have to stop because they need a permit. So she has to lay out a bunch of extra money to get this permit in order to cap off a couple of PVC pipes. I mean, it's so ridiculous. And this isn't a red state, by the way, just to let you know. It's so ridiculous, the amount of pressure that's put upon small businesses in this country anymore, and the regulation. But anyway, I just went off the side rails there. But so the market's up. It's unbelievable, especially with the 10-year at 4%. You just think about that. Think about all these. I've talked about all the pins on this bubble. They could possibly be. Then we're looking at them, and somehow they're making it out to be a really rosy scenario. Just think about 4% 10-year or a 4.25, 4.5, 2-year, whatever. As we roll these notes over, just think about that from the national debt level, this perspective. How much money, how much of the budget is going to be taken up by interest payments? Not only that, with the current interest rates, look at all the businesses, all this economy over the last few decades has been built upon low interest rates, and now they're up, 4 something percent. I don't even know if you take, that's a 10-year, that's a risk-free rate. We'll look up in the corporate bond market, and the mortgage market. You look at those other things, think about the costs that are incurred by that. It's absolutely insanity here. I know I'm kind of not speaking very clearly at this moment, because I'm actually flabbergasted at how the market is. Now, granted, like I said, we played into a lot of this. It's I've kind of been trading around. My strategy, playing it short anyway, I've traded around that and been able to make some money. I still have my short position. In fact, I put on some more, or use that money that I traded around, put on again here, because I think this is a trap, in my opinion. I'm not giving any advice or anything, but this feels like a trap. I had this very I would say opportunity. It's like very rose gardenish, I guess, or there's a different word for that. That these people are, that somehow the Dow and the S&P 500 are up, 2.5%, 3% today, and not to mention for the last few days, that the S&P is almost back at 4,000. And you look at what's been going on in the market itself. Let's talk about the oil stuff. Diesel there's under a month's supply left of diesel in the States. And you look at this, and everything operates on diesel. In fact, I just got a text message before I came on this about an hour ago, somebody asking me about diesel. Like, oh, what's going on with us in diesel? Well, because diesel is well over $5 a gallon, which $5 a gallon, even when you have the supply, with it hurts. It hurts everybody. $5 a gallon diesel if you drive a diesel, or if you're shipping with diesel, if you're operating in some kind of diesel business, it's like, it hurts bad. But then when you have no supply, and we're about ready to see another diesel price shock, if we don't do something about it, then it really hurts. Since everything is shipped with diesel, it's just an incredible conundrum. Coupled with that, now there was an article that came out, and I believe it was the Valero CEO talking about how we haven't had a new refinery in this country in like 1970, and talking about bringing this one online, and that some of these ones that are going to go out of commission. I don't know, if you read into the article, you can see what he's kind of saying. Any refinery that kind of goes out of business, they're not going to invest again to one, build another one, to possibly keep one up, because they're so afraid of what the government might do. They have been for a while. It's like, how do we operate with the same refinery capacity from the 1970s? Right now, I guess they're currently operating about 90% of total capacity in the U.S., not just Valero, but everybody. But look at the amount. There's not much room for error when you're operating at 90-something%, and especially in this kind of environment, and with older equipment. But here's the thing: when you listen to him, he's talking about putting a new refinery in is like a 10-year investment, tens of billions of dollars. So you can't blame these oil companies. Sure, you can if you're very short-sighted, but you got to put yourself in their shoes. It's like, wait, I'm going to invest all this money. It's going to take roughly about 10 years. I think they could probably do it sooner than that, but let's just take their timeline. About a decade to get one of these babies online. Excuse me. And all the while, you go through at least, at least 2 administrations in that time. You have no idea what the climate is going to be in this country, because now it's, you're going from 180 degrees when you have like Trump in here, super pro energy. All of a sudden you flip a switch, you're 180 degrees the wrong way. It's really hard to make an investment like that when the federal government has so much power over it. It was never intended to be like that. The government is tended to be this slow moving mechanism with limited power. But now they have so much power, and they can squash whatever industry they feel like. It's hindering investment. It's really screwing with us, and we can see it in the oil and the refining markets. I'll say. But yeah, if the diesel thing continues, we will see some pain on that one. And it's the thing that's really gotten to me when we're talking about the markets, and we're talking about this, is the normalization of these extreme happenings now in this country. Normally, things like this, with the market would really tell a tale. They would call people out on their BS. Now, the normalization of this and just the rose garden view of everything, the market's always up no matter what, almost. Like, unless you shut everything down. And it's just, and even then, if we had another COVID event type thing, you shut the market down, it might even spike, because they know that the Fed's going to step in. But I think that they're really stretching on it, putting themselves on a limb on this one, when they're saying they're going to pivot now. In fact, when the market spikes like this, and you start seeing other things, setting up the way they are, they actually start sewing themselves into even more of the corner they're boxing themselves into a corner, because they're giving the Fed more justification to continue the rates, the heights that they have been pursuing. And then they're also just setting, which leads to a fall. I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, I'm out of my mind at this point. But like I said, you got to be nimble. You remember the market can remain irrational longer than you can remain liquid. So you got to always keep that in our forefront. But at the same time, when the market's skyrocketing, you have gold going down, which is pretty odd. We got 10-year solid at 4%. Gold's going down, and you think that the spike in the market, granted we had a positive GDP number, but usually the market can be an inflation hedge for some time until there's real cracks and real destruction, which we are seeing that erosion of, especially small business and certain supply chains. But yeah, in general, the market is a good inflation hedge. So we see that, but you don't see the movement in gold. And we look at, let's go to the foreign exchange market. And you can kind of couple that, and you look at some of these other countries, and everything just seems very odd. It's a very odd thing. It just feels very strange. And then, the VIX, which I know it's a fear index, but it's supposed to be a volatility index. And when you have the market going up And I mean, we now relate the VIX as, you know, inversely correlated to the market itself. But in a sense, theoretically, hence the name, it should, you know, when you have this kind of volatility, even on the upside, you should have some sort of movement there. But I know that's not the case. That's just not how that mechanism works, and it hasn't worked for quite some time. It's more of the VIX. It should be an inverse, you know, kind of, it is a directly inverse relationship to the market. In fact, it's probably, you know, more so. I mean, you look at the VIX is down 5% when the S&P is down 2.5 or up 2.5. So, but anyway, that I can see that parallel there. But there's a lot of other things, discongruities that I'm seeing in the market. It's just very odd. So, I'd be careful out there for sure. I don't know what I'm going off on a bunch of other things right now. This whole thing just feels very eerie to me. But you also have some other things going on in the world besides the market. You have kind of something that my neck hairs are going up as the Paul Pelosi situation with the hammer. He apparently is undergoing brain surgery. Now, I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, when they told me this, when I heard the suspect's name, when I heard how it went about, when I know that she is provided security for her and her immediate family. I mean, yeah, it seems kind of weird, but it's not outlandish that there's going to be these kind of lashing out. So I don't know. I'm not saying that this is anything other than an actual attack. I have no idea. And hopefully it gets through. I mean, I know that they're one of the most corrupt families in the country. And whatnot, but you never wish ill will, like physical harm against somebody, and, you know, unless it's totally justified. So, I mean, you hope that he gets through this and he's okay. And that they get that, and if any kind of justice is served, it's through the court system and these Pelosi herself. Because I don't know what kind of, I mean, we could probably nail him to a wall of something, but he needs to go through a court system and be put in prison for what they've done. You know, their illicit trades and insider trading. I mean, if Martha Stewart goes to prison, why isn't the Pelosi's? But anyway, that's a weird situation. The press conference was very just like not very explicit about what was going on, and the timing of them like showing up there right in the midst. But then you think brain surgery, they're both like, it seemed like they were both hurt fairly well. So maybe the timing wasn't as eerie as like some of these other commentators are saying. I mean, it could be. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I don't really pay attention. Because also the timing of it within the midterms is also kind of fishy, but it's, if he's going through brain surgery, something definitely happened. And I don't think, I mean, who knows what Pelosi's capable of, Nancy, but I don't know if she'd, well, I've went on the limbs on a lot of things and been right when it comes to, you know, the sweet and sour sniffles. A lot of other things I've gone over, but this, I'm not going to stretch on a limb yet. It's so soon. I don't have enough information, but I'm just letting you know that stuff's happened out there. There's a good article on U.S.-China relations when it comes to supply chain issues. You know, if it was me, if I was you, I'd deep dive into that. There's a reason why, but that's all normalized now too. You go to Walmart and prices keep going up. You go there, things are out constantly. You know, I don't know. You also have China stepping into the oil markets. I know I'm going back to the markets. I was going out of it, but there's so much there, and it's so intertangled. But you have China going into the market. They're buying this. They're buying into the market. So it's weird. They're probably buying Russian oil, as we know, but they're also stepping up some of their purchase. I don't know if they're building supply, excess supply, like they have a strategic oil reserve, I'm sure. But who knows? But it's eerie. While we drain ours, they're buying and soaking up any kind of excess supply, which is it reasonable that we might see $100 barrel oil? It's been knocking at the door again, and I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see. There's so many dynamic moves here. I hope, I don't know. It's hard for me to even make any calls anymore of what's going on here. What else? I mean, we got to look at the elections coming up. We got to look at a lot of things. Big elections. We go to like Arizona, Pennsylvania. Utah's one it's not really talked a lot about, but hopefully Mike Lee holds on there. One of the good guys. oh yeah, in Arizona, that was another. So all this timing business, this timing when it comes to this Paul Pelosi, which I don't know for sure. Like I said, we're going to step in that. But there's been some issues in Arizona, apparently some break-ins at some of the campaign headquarters or campaign whatever places, and some accusations. And it seems awful timing. It seems weird, but it's not, you know, it seems like people are willing to do a lot more. You know, there's so much misinformation and propaganda going out. It's hard to even discern what is truth and what is not, or what's an actual event and what's not, which is a staged event in a sense. So, like, I believe Kari Lake's, who's running for governor there, she was accused of breaking into Katie Hobbs' place, but then she turns around and like shows, you know, says, you know, as far as I know, that in Arizona they're throwing out all this stuff about her, but then Kari Lake comes around and turns, well, here's presumably Katie Hobbs going through one of her campaign headquarters. So it's pretty interesting. It's interesting stuff. Hopefully Kari Lake actually pulls it out. She seems like the better candidate. Blake Masters down there. Hopefully he gets it done. Anyway, this has been a kind of a haphazard podcast, and mainly because you know, the markets are really flabbergasting. I don't know. Like I said, I've given theories before. Could be an election thing. Could be a bet on the Fed turnaround. I think none of them are mutually exclusive. This could all be that. And obviously, some of it's been short covering. People you're calling, you know, a lot of these shorts are actually being pushed out, and you'll see them come back because there's a lot of devastation underlying this economy. And anyway, talk to you later. Peace.